KILR Killer Game.
Hello, gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and welcome back to the tour around the world tour. Well, parts of the world, as much as we possibly can do with the scenery discs that we have for Sublogic Flight Simulator 2 for the one, the only Commodore 64. Yes, the very first flight simulator that I have flown in my life, and the one that got me into flight simulation. This is it, right here. Let's talk about where we are and where we're going to be going on this episode. Here we are, capital city, and we're going to be heading north at a radio of 010 degrees out of Lansing here. We're going to be landing at Mount Pleasant. Looks like it's one runway going east and west. That'll be a little bit challenging to try to line up, especially coming in at an angle. But we can use Saginaw here to help us out. There is, let's see, if we kind of intersect, maybe right around here. That is a vector of 300. And I'd say, let's say, come out like this. So about 2? Close to 2. So almost 020, maybe just a little less than that, maybe 018. Should take us and have us intersect right about here. And then we can make a make a left to 270 and land on runway 27. How are we doing on fuel? That's not too bad for fuel. We have Lansing already tuned in, but I want to set that to nav 1 and set Saginaw to nav 2, set Saginaw to nav 1 so we can at least get some distance DME reading. So we're going to move nav 2 to Lansing. Yep, and we were saying 018. So we'll catch that radio heading out of Lansing. And then Saginaw 112.9. Niner. 49 miles. I think Mount Pleasant would just... I think that would be close, about 50 miles. And we were saying... Vector 300. So as we get closer, we should be able to get something there. All right, let's start her up. It's so easy to slide off this runway. Like going too quickly and completely overshooting your turn. So for those of you who are joining me here on Twitch, guess what? This particular episode that we're recording here will not air until 2021. You are seeing this that far ahead. How about that? Although my hope, starting 2021, that I can get the Commodore 64 flights out on a weekly basis rather than a monthly basis, because as you've seen in the previous flight, there are a lot of flights for this series, and I don't think we'll ever get to it if we're just doing one a month. But we'll need to do the same thing with Flight Simulator 3 and the Amiga. So that's a lot of flying, and that's a lot of recording, and a lot of editing, and a lot of uploading. It's a lot of work. So that is the ideal goal that I have, is to get it out on a weekly basis. So it gives me time between now and then to get more episodes recorded, edited, scheduled out, so that way I have time to be able to get the other simulators worked on as well. And we're airborne. We're going to go ahead and intercept the localizer on nav number 2 for Lansing. And we're going to fly that out to Mount Pleasant. I got a feeling this white line right in front of us, right out there, I think that's going to head out in that direction. So we have a little bit of VFR scenery in the form of a line. For some reason, we're like heading way up in the sky. Not sure what happened there. We're going to level off around 3,000 feet, somewhere close to that. I keep hearing the door behind me opening and closing. That usually means a cat is coming into the room. Or in this case, plane. As we're flying here, I'm adjusting things like the trim, the throttle. So the keyboard controls allow me to do some fine tuning that's really hard to do with a joystick. How many cats do I have? We have 3. They're all brothers. Their mother was a stray cat, pregnant. She was definitely a house cat. You could tell she was domesticated. Had no idea she was pregnant. We took her in to get her out of the heat. And she gave birth the next day. 5 kittens, 2 females, 3 males. The 2 females were given away. And we kept the 3 boys. We did have 3 other cats at the time that were getting older. All 3 of them were female. And sadly, all 3 have passed now. We lost our last one earlier this year. Few months ago, and it just happened quickly. She was fine until she was not. It was just like one day perfectly fine, the next day she couldn't pick herself up. And she was having trouble breathing. And when you lose a pet, it is really hard. I mean, they're with you for, over a decade, almost two. They become part of your family, and it's hard. Arrow's like, this sounds like a machine gun. I always thought it sounded more like a helicopter. There is a old game for the Commodore 64. It was relatively popular, called Super Huey. And I think the sound was just like this, as a matter of fact. Super Huey, you had, if I remember correctly, you had to fly over enemy lines, land, and rescue refugees, and then get back up and bring them back to safety. And that was out around the same time as this was out, and that's another sort of kind of flight simulator. Not really a combat one, or maybe it was. I think you could fire at enemies and for defense. Like I said, it's been a while. But some of those old games, I would like to do here on the channel. Just kind of here and there. They're ideal for Throwback Thursday, for example, where we do the old classic games. So we can do a stream on like an old Commodore 64 game like that, or like the Chuck Yeager. I think it was like a combat simulator of some sort. That was early DOS, I think. Or Falcon. You guys remember Falcon? Falcon 3.0 is the one that comes to mind because of the cover of the box. It was like a silver box somewhat, and it had a falcon on the front. Wing Commander would be another great one. That one we could do on Thursday, or we could do it on Sunday for Sci-Fi Fantasy Sunday. Alright, we just about are intercepting our localizer there for heading 018. So I'm getting us turned and close to it. So right now I'm using the rudder to just inch my way over to the right. Which with the keyboard, which works really well with the old simulator. Now, trying to do it in a later simulator, the rudder kind of acts the way it should, where you do slide one way, but then you slip back the other way. So, in those cases, I just use the ailerons, but also I'm controlling with an actual controller. Because trying to fly the later simulators with the keyboard, yeah, that's not so easy. So the old ones I use a keyboard, the later ones I use a controller. Take a look at our windows out here and see what kind of scenery we can see. That's Lansing back there. There's an airport. I don't think that's Mount Pleasant. I think that is Gratiot, or Gratiot. Gratiot. Because Gratiot would be south of Mount Pleasant. And we haven't seen an airport over to the left here. So that should be what that one is. Isaac 6398. How do I even know what the heck is going on? Well, practice and digging up some old memories of mine. This was the very first flight simulator that I flew. This is what got me into flight simulation. What we're seeing here, this is a road. Right there. That road, to be specific. We left Lansing, Michigan. We're heading up to around Saginaw. We're actually going to be landing at the Mount Pleasant airport. So we're heading to Mount Pleasant. That is Route 127 right there. This little intersection coming up there, I believe that is Alma. We'll see when we get closer. This is all, even though there's a little bit of visual here, most of this is going to be IFR. So I'm using my instruments here, tuning into VORs, using vectors and radials, and keeping in mind my instruments as far as how high up I am, etc. And a good thing of practice is to look up the altitude of the airport. In this case, it's 754. So I'll need to keep that in mind with the altimeter when I go to land, because it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of hard to determine distance when you're landing. Definitely a challenge, though. And this is part of a World Tour series that is featured on my YouTube channel. I'm just recording those episodes to edit and upload for a future date. But streaming them here on Twitch gives everyone a chance to be a part of that world tour. And this all started a couple of years ago because I wanted to relive old memories that I had with the Commodore 64. As far as the limited scenery, basically I wanted to, re-spark the old imagination that I had. I wanted to see if I would be able to do it, if I would be able to stick to it, or if I would just get bored real quickly. But no, I've been doing it. Like I said, it's been 2 years, and this particular flight is leg 37. So this would be considered episode 37 of that World Tour series. And we are matching these same flights on other simulators. So Microsoft Flight Simulator 2, 3, 4, no, I should say 2 and 3, the Amiga Flight Simulator 2, 4 and on up will eventually get back to this point. They're heading in a different direction where these old simulators cannot go. The point cache-in just had a request. It was just one of the small point requests to see a flight done on the X-Plane 8. So that's all that was. And that's good. Gives us a chance just to kind of break it in and do a little flight with it. I did test it out a little bit. Once again, the Cessna 172 that's on there has no autopilot. But it does have a Piper, and it has a King Air. The Piper, which is what I'm thinking of flying, has an autopilot, so that helps out as far as maintaining altitude and heading, because I've noticed that it tends to pull to the right and the left, and it gets a little bit annoying when you're when you're flying. I'm thinking Mount Pleasant is over in this direction. Off to the left there. The World Tour has not started, at least at the time of this recording, because I am waiting for specific scenery for X-Plane 6, which at the moment I still haven't received. Now I do have scenery for X-Plane 7 that I can use on X-Plane 6. And I may just go ahead and do that. I think the scenery is going to be the same, because the X-Plane 7 package that I have already comes with world scenery. I just have a separate pack that says X-Plane 7 global scenery. So I thought it was for X-Plane 7, and what I ordered was X-Plane 6 global scenery. So I wanted to have an accurate representation of what the scenery would look like for X-Plane 6. But chances are it probably is exactly the same. It comes on the same number of CD-ROMs. And let's be honest, X-Plane's focus has always been more on the planes and the flight mechanics than it has been the scenery. So I wouldn't be surprised if 6 and 7 shared the same scenery. That's just less work and more time, less wasted time on scenery and more time that they can spend on the simulator itself. Which is totally understandable. That's what separated X-Plane from Microsoft Flight Simulator. One was focused more on the flying mechanics, the other one was focused more on the overall experience, as far as the scenery and flying and stuff. And of course, Microsoft had more resources too. And flight mechanics got better with time. But, one thing I can tell you is flying a plane in Microsoft Flight Simulator versus one in X-Plane, they have a different feel to them. They have a very different feel. But for those who have played either X-Plane 10 or 11, going back to the early versions of X-Plane will still feel very similar. The planes, they still have that same feel as far as the flight mechanic, because they've always used that blade element theory. So if you're used to the way things fly in X-Plane, if you want it to go back to the old versions, you'll have no problem fitting in with it, because it flies very close. And likewise the other way around too. Chances are someone these days is not going to start off with like an old version of X-Plane and then go to a later one. Alrighty, John. We'll go ahead and do that. That'll be the flight that we do this afternoon. Yep, I saw. Your 2,000 points. I was just going to pick something random, but there we go. Now we got something specific we can do. Master Joe, 2005. Is this Flight Sim 2020? Yeah, this is an early alpha version. Yeah, good call on that, John. Good call. The terrain and the textures of X-Plane 8 definitely improved over X-Plane 7. It looks great for the time that it was released. Yeah, this is the early stages of alpha. See, they've been working on Flight Simulator 2020 since the Commodore 64 days. It's a little known fact. So, I broke the secret. Don't tell anyone. It's our secret here. And that made me jump. Thank you for joining, Master Joe. Welcome to the community, killer community. We are glad to have you here. I do a lot of classic flight simulation on the channel. That includes Microsoft Flight Simulator as well as old X-Plane. We'll be doing X-Plane 8 a little bit later. And I do stuff all the way up to FSX, P3D, X-Plane 11, and I am getting things ready for Flight Simulator 2020, so you will be able to see that here as well. And the more that you watch here on the channel, the more killer points you can earn, and with killer points you can redeem those for flights. So if you're looking forward to Flight Simulator 2020 and perhaps you're not able to, maybe you don't have the machine to be able to fly it, you can request a flight from your hometown, or wherever you want. So it's a great way for you to be involved with the channel and be able to help influence the type of things that you'd like to see. Flight Sim 2002, yes, I have done that also. Probably one of the most entertaining things that I've done with Flight Sim 2002, and some of our viewers here are very familiar with it because it's quite a laugh to... Where is that little thing? Oh, I can't find it. Is it over in this pile over here? Okay, in one of my piles, I have this add-on called Captain Speaking 2002, which has ATC controlled flights from one location to another, and the voices that are used are rather interesting, to say the least. Being a pilot from Flight Sim 2002, you might be familiar with that Captain Speaking add-on. It was a sequel to the Captain Speaking 2000 for Flight Simulator 2000, which did not have ATC at the time. Not built in. You were able to get it through a third party. So, honestly, the Captain Speaking 2002 wasn't really necessary because Flight Simulator 2002 had the first integrated ATC right out of the box for the Microsoft series. Although it had some really annoying qualities to it, such as if you didn't get up to the right altitude, they would cancel your flight plan, you couldn't refile it, you were pretty much without ATC for the rest of the flight. Not fun, and something that they greatly improved with FS9. Other than that, though, Flight Simulator 2002 is fun to check out. Interesting fact, I did not fly 2002 when it first came out. It was FS9. I had Flight Simulator 2000, and then I had some things going on in my life at the time, such as the birth of my daughter. And I didn't get back into Flight Simulator until FS9 came out. I saw that and I'm like, wow. Microsoft Combat Flight Simulator is not one that I've done. But I've had quite a few of my viewers mention it. And I'm pretty sure that seeing a stream or video over on the KILR Television YouTube channel would be most welcome, I think. So I have kept an eye on them as far as box copies over on eBay, so I have had my eyes on them. That little, I think, that little brown spot there in front of us, I think, is the airport. It's just one runway for Mount Pleasant going east and west. And don't know if you're here when I mention it, but Flight Simulator 2 for the Commodore 64, this is where it all started for me. This is the very first simulator that got me into aviation and virtual flying. And so I've been doing this series for a couple of years now. I can't come to the door because I'm landing. Are you able to wait a few minutes? Say hi to all of my viewers.
He's getting pizza.
I'm getting pizza. This is my wonderful wife. This is the one that I told you loves BBC programming and anime. I am spoiled. She's my better half, y'all. Killer wifey. She goes by Demi. And if you'd like to see a little bit more with us, we are going to be doing some Minecraft live streaming together on Mondays. Not every Monday, but I recently did a live stream over on YouTube on my channel. She and I have a world that we created on Minecraft. We created it several years ago, and we just recently got back to it. Done a lot of work with it. And now one of my boys is in here crying. Shadow. Whoa! That's the airport. The airport's over here. Ah! That's not an airport. That's a stick. That's a building over there. Yes, Shadow, I can hear you. It's not a good... That means the sun is going down. So we'll turn on the lights. Alright, I'm trying to get the plane under control here. So the airport's off to our right here. This is going to be a little challenging to try to see. The reason is that the airport, or the runway, is the same color as the ground, and so the only thing is the lines. Did that disappear? Because I'm not seeing it now. It's back there. What? Wait a minute, it was right in front of us. I wonder if it's possible to land at this airport. Oh. That's interesting. Now we have nothing in front of us. Wow, okay, what was that? Maybe that was a fog or something we went through. That was interesting. I'm Muir. Nice to see ya. Nice to meet ya. Welcome to the KILR channel. Where in the world am I? Okay, that's the airport right there, but it seems like whenever we get close to it, it winds up behind us. Safe Wizard, DME. There's not a VOR at the airport, so not really sure. What we do have tuned in, though, is Saginaw, but that is a little ways away from the airport. Safe Wizard, we crashed. No, we didn't crash. If we had crashed, it would have blanked out like what we saw, and then we would have seen the word crashed. And it would have went smack. But I'm keeping an eye on the altitude. We're at 2,500. Okay. Runway is to the right. That puts it right there. Okay. Let's get ourselves turned here. Okay, there it is. Don't disappear on us this time. Oh, I hit the flaps. That could be part of the reason why we had a little bit of trouble. This is going to be tough to line up with. I definitely don't want to try to do a go-around. This is hard enough. Ah, what the heck? Now we're slipping all the way over that way. See how hard this thing is to control? Come on, stop sliding around. And get down there so that way we can line up. My goodness, boy. I gotta be careful of the throttle. If I put it down too much, we're gonna wind up stalling. Be careful. Should be touching down here in just a moment. Don't stall. Alright. I don't think that was on the runway. But it is right over here. I know it's kind of hard to see. Okay, so if I go ahead and but we'll just put in 18 right there. There you go. See? So, yeah, just move it just a tab, but yeah, here's the runway. So, yeah, a little hard to see during the dawn and dusk times and at night. So, again, you got to rely on your instruments and then look for that white line that comes close to being dashed as you get closer to it. We'll go ahead and switch back to dusk since that's where we left off at, because we're not doing just day flights, but we also do night flights as well. So that way all of you can get the full experience of Flight Simulator. And I'm sure there are those of you that played this back in the day that would really appreciate being able to see both daytime and nighttime. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you're enjoying this series. And hey, help me out. Click that like button. And leave some comments and share the video. It really does help out the channel. Lets people know that this series is out there. Because I'm sure there's some Commodore 64 fans out there, especially those that have flown Flight Simulator, that probably don't even know the series is out there. Let's be honest, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there. There's a ton. So I am just like one little grain in a huge beach next to the ocean. So yeah, if you're sharing the video and letting people know and liking the video, giving this video some activity, it gives it a boost, so that way other people get a chance to see it. And then another great thing that boosts is subscribing, because what that does is that builds up the killer community that we have here. You get to be part of the community, and it's an awesome community. It's a killer awesome community. When you click that little ding-a-ling-a-ling bell that's right next to the subscribe button, you get notified of future flight simulation content, which I do a lot of very many flight simulators, not just the Commodore 64, but I have all kinds of other stuff throughout the week. So you get notified of what it is that just got uploaded. And like I said, I got content coming out nearly every day, and it's fun stuff, so that way you can come to and get away from the rigors of the world. Another fun place that you might like is Twitch, because I do some live streaming there, and as I am recording episodes, I tend to live stream as well, so that gives you all a chance to be a part of the show and see this stuff raw and uncut and weeks and months ahead of time. You get to see it before other people do. And you can tease them. It's like, I know what's coming, I know where he's going. So yeah, follow me on Twitch. I'd love to meet you there. Then over on Instagram, I take photos and pictures of projects that I'm working on behind the scenes. Gives you a little peek of what's going on. Things that might be coming up, or things that I might be testing out. Twitter for official killer news and announcements, retweets of things that I think you might find interesting. It's a way for me to be able to communicate with you folks. And then Snapchat, which is just for fun. Nothing really big there, but if you have a Snapchat account, I have one too. So you can follow me over there if you'd like. And then Patreon for those of you who would like to support the killer cause and be able to help me grow this channel. Can't do it by myself, but together we can build this up into something even more special. So anything that you're willing to do and donate really helps out, and you do get something in return. Not only do you get a smile from me, but you also get some bonuses and rewards. So Head on over there and check that out. Again, I greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next leg of our exciting journey. The sun's going down, so it'll be nighttime by the time we get to the next airport. Have a killer awesome night.